hello. Welcome to Infamous Sylvia channel. The channel that was bringing you the YSL trial. Well, I have a special guest today. And you guys have seen him. You know who he is. Without further ado, here's Mr. Doug Weinstein.
Hey, Miss Sylvia, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Good. I'm sorry it took me so long to come on your broadcast.
It's okay. You saved the best for last.
That's right. That's right. No doubt.
So how are you doing?
I'm good. Now, don't ask me if I'm enjoying my time off because this is not time off.
So you're not resting?
We're getting ready for the next round, We're prepping for the next big thing.
Wow. Okay. Before we get started, I want the folks to know a little bit about Mr. Weinstein. Who is Mr. Weinstein?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know who I am. I've been a lawyer for 25 years. Before that, I was an engineer, actually. I was an
Really?
electrical engineer. Yeah, I worked in a steel mill in Birmingham, Alabama for 7 years before I went to law school. Let's see. As a lawyer, I spent 10 years overseas in Taiwan.
Hmm.
So there's some interesting facts about me that are not particularly well known. How's that?
Are you from the South or are you from the North?
No, I am from the South. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. And
Okay.
I've, except for my decade overseas and a couple of years in law school, I've spent my whole life in the South. I just don't have much of an accent left.
Okay, because you don't sound like a Southerner. I sound more Southern
Well,
than you.
I sound a little different, like if you get me back in Birmingham among a bunch of folks. But yeah, most of it's gone,
I thought you was from
unfortunately.
Boston. I really thought you was from Boston.
I thought I was a nice guy. I can't believe you'd say that. I can't believe you would think I'm from like the city with the meanest people in America. Now I'm
Hey,
gonna
hey,
get
hey,
hate
hey,
mail from
watch it
Boston.
there, sir.
Hate mail from Boston.
Well, I know everybody's up in here. They ready to hear the stuff in regard to YSL. We know we're not going to talk about YSL, but we want to talk about some stuff that's surrounding what's going on around here. Okay. Um,
Okay.
one of the things that they asked me this, and I said, let me go ask you this question.
All right.
Did you just recently see the motion that was submitted in regarding to extension?
Yeah, yeah. They asked for a 2-day extension of time, and the judge granted it. So that's not unusual that lawyers ask for extensions of time, and it's
Mhm.
not unusual for a judge to grant that the first time lawyers ask for that. So
Well,
nothing about that was that unusual. If they'd
well,
asked me, I would have consented to the 2 days, at least on behalf of Mr. Kendrick, but they didn't ask me.
what about your answer? Have you gotten an answer from your motion in regard to getting her out the way?
No, the state hasn't responded to that motion. I don't know if they plan to. And you know as much as I do. So far, the judge hasn't done anything with my motion to recuse the whole Fulton County bench from hearing the recusal of Glanville. I know it's getting complicated now, right?
Yeah, very.
Recusals for recusals. But yeah, we have not heard anything from Judge Krause about that. So we'll see what happens. We have a plan for everything.
Okay. Look, I believe it. I believe in you guys with the plan.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. Trust the process, as Nick Saban would say.
the process. So how is Mr. Kendrick doing?
I think he's doing all right. I haven't spoken to him directly in the
Mhm.
last few days. I've been talking to his mother, um, but he
By the way,
seems to be doing.
she's in the chat. She's in the chat.
Oh, I bet she is because I told her I would be on. Hey, Tasha. Anyway, yeah, but I haven't seen him lately. But I think he's doing okay, as well as anybody can be doing that's been locked up at Rice Street for 26 months.
Yeah, it's really it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard on all those guys.
Yeah. So
Nobody should be locked up at Rice Street for a day.
I know. I know. I remember I was there, so
Hmm.
I concur. Now, as far as what is next for you guys as far like with this whole process? Can you give me a scenario if one thing happened, if that doesn't happen, what's the next step? Like, for example, if the judge does not recuse himself or
Hmm.
another judge does not come in, what happens then?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to be a completely uncooperative guest on your show, Miss
Okay.
Sylvia, because
Okay.
I don't like to talk about things we might do going forward.
Okay.
I'm happy to talk about things in the past. I will say that um, I've sat down with Katie Hingerty and we have gone through all the possible, I think all the possible scenarios of how things can play out going forward. And we have a plan for each of those scenarios. So we are ready to go on a lot of those. I'm already briefing for some potential motions that may end up being filed in the future. So that's why I say we're busy still. We're trying to be able to act fast. And you've seen us act fast in the past, right?
Mhm.
And that's from preparation. So we're prepared to act fast depending on what happens because, Mr. Kendrick's sitting there in jail. We don't want him sitting there in jail. We want to get him out. We want to resolve the issue. We don't want to waste any time. So um, there is some time being taken up now because of this disqualification issue, this recusal issue, but it's necessary in light of what happened in court and out of court. But we're prepared no matter what happens.
Okay, like right now, would it be something that you guys would think of giving trying to get bond for them while of this pause and all this craziness is happening?
I don't think it would be unreasonable to ask for bond under certain circumstances. If this case, for some reason, would need to be retried, I would certainly expect to ask for bond in that situation because why should Mr. Kendrick continue to sit in jail because there have been mistakes made by other parties
Mhm.
that caused this thing to be retried? So there's a number of scenarios where we could go back again and ask for bond. We asked Judge Glanville for bond twice, at least twice, and he denied it for Mr. Kendrick both times. Even though I think that if you look at Georgia law and the factors for bond, Mr. Kendrick is a perfect candidate to receive bond. But I'm sure that Judge Glanville honestly did what he thought was the right thing in denying bond. I disagree with it. But anyway, yeah, there's scenarios going forward where we could ask for bond again.
Okay. Now let's go move over to the jurors. Okay.
Hmm.
Today is a day that they were supposed to come back,
That's
right?
right.
They're
Hmm.
told, hey, there's nothing happening. Now, do you think there will be a polling done on jurors to find out if they, in fact, know something is going on? Because it's all over the world. You
Well,
understand what I'm
that's
saying?
all. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's always an option that the parties can ask for. But this case has received so much publicity from even before day one, and it's received a lot of publicity the since the jury's been seated and they've started to hear evidence. And Judge Glanville has consistently instructed them to, on their duties and their obligations and on not to seek out social media and to avoid. And presumably they've been doing everything that the judge has instructed them on.
Mhm.
And I don't know that this recess or this break is any different than any others. You remember we had a pretty good break early on in December, I think, where one of the defendants was injured in the jail. And I think we had a significant amount of time off there. So if jurors were curious and wanted to look at things going on in the courtroom, I don't think this situation is different than any other. And you look over and you see the jurors, they seem to be paying attention still, miraculously so, and following the judge's instructions. So I don't know. We'll have to see how long this break is and decide what to do after that.
But
And
this
of course, I don't know
circumstance,
what the state will do.
but this circumstance is a little bit different. The news is showing that one of the defendants, attorney, who's, you know, Young Thug's attorney is being held in contempt. Then you hear the judges being asked to be recused, right? And it's all over the
Yeah.
news. So the assumption of them not knowing or not even seeing or hearing, it's kind of like, unless they're living underneath a rock.
Well, I guess I am, despite all evidence that may have presented itself in this case to the contrary, I'm going to continue to try to have faith in the system and hope that those jurors have been following the instructions. I guess my main point is, um, if they're not following the judge's instructions here, there have been a lot of opportunities earlier for them to also not follow those instructions. Now, I don't know. They're human beings. How do you get sent out of a jury room? I mean, sit out of the courtroom and into your jury room for 4 or 5 hours and not be curious about what happened and not take a peek. But they seem to be serious people. I think they understand the seriousness of this trial and their responsibilities. All these jurors had opportunities to get out of jury duty, right? You were there. You
Mm-hmm.
saw what they went through when the judge was questioning them on hardship issues. It's easy for any of these jurors to have avoided jury duty, and they didn't do that. They opted in, and I think that's because they appreciate their civic duties and want to fulfill their obligations, and clearly, could afford at least to sit through a 4 to 6 month trial. I know we're beyond that now. So I'd like to think, at least for the moment, that they're continuing to do what the judge has instructed them to do.
But now their pay is being affected, and they did question their pay the other couple of
Yeah,
times. Yeah.
I don't know. I actually have no idea if they're still receiving their stipend during this period or not. And you actually may know that more than I
Oh,
do. I
I
haven't
know.
paid this.
Look,
What's that?
I know.
I know you know. So I don't know. If you know that they're not receiving their stipend, that's a different issue. But I know on past breaks they've continued to receive their stipend.
Yes, but this is a pause now. This is a totally different situation. This is a
So you
pause.
think they're not getting paid?
This is a pause.
I'm going to ask you now. No,
I don't.
I don't know anything about
I
their
don't
pay.
recall. Look, I don't recall.
Look, I don't know that any of these people are doing it for the $25 a day that they're getting paid.
But they did question when they didn't get their little $25 when they were
Well,
given.
look, you don't mess with people's pay. I mean, I learned that at U.S. Steel my first week. My first week, my boss told me, whatever you do, you don't mess with people's pay.
You don't.
And I've lived by that. I don't mess with people's pay.
Even if
So,
it's 25.
$25 is $25. So you want to get that.
Yeah, it's
I
more than.
understand. I'd want my $25 too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're getting paid now or not. So you seem to have some insights into that.
I don't recall.
Stop it. You're so bad.
I know. Now, as far as your, I know you had other clients that was put in the back burner because of YSL case. Are you picking up some of those cases now, or are you just not?
Well, at our firm, J App's firm with J App, Katie Hingerty, and myself, there are three of us there. And usually only one of us is in court in YSL on any given day.
Mhm.
So I hesitate to say those clients have been put on the back burner. I'll say that their trials have been postponed for sure. But we have continued to, and even I've continued to review discovery in cases. When we have breaks at YSL, I'm running all over the state, actually, doing motions, um, holding hearings, doing all kinds of things. So those cases have kind of maybe puttered along, um, but it's true, we have scores of cases that we need to try um, when this YSL case eventually is over. Um, and so, yeah, one of the things I'm doing on top of trying to prepare or that we're all doing on top of trying to prepare for all the different outcomes that might happen in YSL, is trying to take care of some of these other clients and some of these other cases to the extent we can. So I've paid some visits to some folks, in the last few days, but I've been running all over the state.
Wow, that is great. But I commend you for being able to just stick so long with this type of case, because it's unprecedented the amount of time, and there's no real solution or end to this, because you did say it's going to be what 2026. That's the way it looks like, right?
Well, in my motion, when they had like 400 plus witnesses, I think I said 2027.
Oh, you did, yeah.
They're down to 200 witnesses. You want to know my current guess?
What's your current guess?
I'll give you my current guess. My current guess, of course, this has botched it up a little bit, but my current guess is, I'll say June of 2025.
Okay. Well,
That'll be my current guess.
when I spoke with Miss Love, Miss Love did say to me that they're going to rest in August. This August.
Really? Really? Can you hold her to that?
Well, it's too late now, because with all of this, so she might change her mind. But as all of this happened, she did say to me that they're going to, I said, what, 2026 August? He said, no, August after July, this month. I said, okay, let's see it happen.
All right. Well, you know what? If they do that, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. They got 100 more witnesses on their list, so maybe they're not going to call them all.
So they were fillers then?
I don't know. I just know they have over 200 people on their list, and they've gotten about halfway through it. So I'm sure Thugger Daily could give you the exact count.
I know.
But I think they're not quite halfway through that list of 200 plus.
So do you think they were intending to pull in all of those people in, or is just fillers?
Do you want me to get into the mind of the state and ADA Love? I have no idea what they were planning on. Given, I'm trying to be nice. Given everything that they've said, it seemed that cutting it down to 200 was a bit of a burden for them. Okay, so I doubt they would consider those 200 to have any fillers in them. I mean, to them, that was cutting it to the bone, going down to roughly 200, at least given what they said in court. And all I can go by is what they say in court.
Yeah, that's great. Now, let's get into the media situation, okay? Do you feel the media is giving you guys a fair assessment of what's going on in the court case? I'm talking about the national media, not the
to the extent I follow it, and I see articles in Rolling Stone or Wall Street Journal or Guardian, wherever, they seem to be a pretty accurate reflection of what's going on in the case. They have some things I might have a couple of little issues with at times, but I think they're doing a great job of covering it at a high level. I mean, nobody covers it at the degree of specificity that you do, or Thugger Daily does, or Megan Cuniff covers it in some degree of detail.
Yes.
But I mean, Miss Sylvia, you've got the YouTube detail covered, and then Thugger Daily has the Twitter detail covered. Between the two of you, y'all have it all out there. But I think we're getting a pretty fair shake in the national media. I don't have a lot of qualms with that.
Yes, that was my whole objective when I really started covering this case, is to make sure that you guys get fairly represented, because sometimes when a state has an agenda, this is just me talking, they have an agenda, the national news pushes the story towards their agenda. And I wanted everyone to know that these individuals have family, they have this, they have, real
That's right.
things going on in their life. Is not just what, they're guilty, because that's what some of those television and national news is try to persuade people that they're not innocent until proven guilty. Now it's like they're guilty until proven innocent. That's why I made sure I was there every day to make sure I cover and bring out exactly what's happening, not no clickbaits and things like that.
Hmm.
So,
And we appreciate that. We really do. And again, when I'm talking to you, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not talking on behalf of any other defendants or defense attorneys. I should make that clear at the beginning. But yeah, we appreciate your coverage. And I am thrilled for every detail of this trial to be reported in the press and for the public to see. Because I think when you watch this, watch these witnesses, watch the evidence being presented. Okay. Now it's the jury that makes the ultimate decision, but I like the public to see this because my client, Diamante Kendrick, when this is over, he's going to be out there again performing.
yeah,
And I want the public to see, he's got these charges against him. Look at the evidence the state's presenting. Okay. You make up your own minds about it. I'm happy for anyone to watch this and make up their own minds about it. Because I know what I think, and I think the jury's going to find him to be not guilty,
yeah,
um, which is how it should be.
yeah,
Um, so anyway, yeah, report away, let everybody see, and also I think you and like Thugger Daily, y'all are performing a service, educating people about the legal process and giving them insights into the courtroom. And this is a good case to do that with because, it's being streamed. So it's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Especially because in the beginning, when the case first started, everything was so negative, and it's like they showed like the transfer of drugs and all this kind of stuff, and it kind of
Yeah.
made it look so bad, and they did not come back to retract and tell what actually happened, what was the truth of things. And that's the thing that was really irritating me, because they put all this negativity out, but then no one's come back and say, hey, this is what was found, this is what really happened. It's just that shock type of reporting, and then just leaving.
Hmm.
And
And that's a good point. That's a good point. Like, for example, look at when Mr. Menendez was arrested. Okay. And the reporting from that was, YSL attorney caught bringing drugs into the courtroom. I mean, it was ridiculous. And assaulting a deputy, I believe. And that was just ridiculous. You got prescription meds that were prescribed to him. Maybe they were in a different bottle, like we all do, where we transfer pills around to make it easy for us to carry them. But prescription meds, assaulting a deputy, give me a break. I mean,
yeah,
he was tossing his phone to Max Sharp,
and
you
that's
know?
why that's why I try to tell the people this is what happened, because I was standing there. He flipped the phone over, and
Yeah.
it just happened to brush her vest. And I'm like, okay, how did he assault the officer and he didn't hit her?
But
So
there was a different, and you can maybe speak about this because I had my own view of it. There was a different vibe in the courtroom and the hallway, everything surrounding the case from the time that we began jury selection until, I don't know, I want to say August or September of last year. We
mhm.
had different deputies around. They had the scorpions all around the courtroom. They're there dressed all in black. They look like a SWAT team that's descended on the place.
Big
Um,
guns.
yeah, there was just a lot more tension, a lot more stress. And I think we reached a point sometime as a number of defendants that were at trial were reduced from the original 14. At some point, the Scorpions left. We began to have consistent deputies around. We got to know each other better. Law enforcement became easier to deal with that was in the courtroom. And the
Mhm.
whole stress level, I think, was reduced. Did you feel that?
Yeah, it was, and because the way they made it seem like it was a whole bunch of you folks that was just like dangerous. We can't get near them, and you can't go in there, and all this kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it was stressful.
Yeah, that was the ridiculous vibe that they were putting out. And if and Judge Glanville probably rightfully would defer um, to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office for anything relating to court security, and he wouldn't get involved that much because he said, this is their job. They're tasked with protecting everybody in this room. So I'm just going to let them do their job. Um, but
I
that
realize.
the sheriff's office made us all look like dangerous people, like we were going to attempt a massive escape from courtroom 1C at any moment.
And then it turned out it was them that was doing some of the dirty stuff.
Well, they
Because there was a whole bunch of them
they're
got arrested.
there
And
was
nobody.
some of that. There was some.
Mhm.
They're underpaid, understaffed, overworked. It's not a great scenario. But the guys we have in there now, they're very professional. We have a good relationship with them all, and yeah, it's a good feeling in the courtroom now, and it makes going to court much easier on everybody. I think on everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whew, okay. Are you ready to take some questions from the folks in the chat? Because I don't want to hold you long. Because you know me, I'm a stickler of time. I'm not like
Okay,
comfort
no
break.
comment. Hey, most of those comfort breaks are for me because I'm an old guy and I got to use the bathroom a lot. So that's not all Judge Glanville. That's Judge Glanville being nice to me most of the time.
Nice
Now
to
I don't need 45 minutes, but I just need like 5 minutes. But whatever. I'm glad he gives me the breaks. I'm not gonna ding him for that.
All right. Okay, let me go ahead on and pull up those folks that are here. So, let's see. I go up a little bit because there was some people asking questions earlier. All right. Thank you, Brian, for the membership. Let's see. Okay. I was looking for some questions here.
I know you got questions.
I know I do. Hold on. Oh, that's Mr. 444. He says he just gave us super chat. Let's see. All right, we have Dom. He says, keep up the greatest work, Sil. Shout out to the very professional and upstanding attorney Weinstein. Question:
Thank you.
how is it that most of the defendants were offered plea, but not Jeffrey? Can you explain that?
Oh, I'm going to be difficult, I guess. I'm not going to talk about that type of thing, um, other than to say that the public doesn't always know when defendants are offered pleas and when they're not offered pleas. Um, there are counties like Gwinnett where pleas are at some point placed on the record. Fulton doesn't do that necessarily. Um, some judges in Fulton will do that, but it's not the rule like it is over in Gwinnett County. Um, and I don't know. I would imagine, well, I'm not even going to guess. I don't know. I don't know if he was offered a plea, if he wasn't offered a plea. I have no idea. I'm not Jeffrey Williams' attorney. So I don't know the answer to that. You know, Adrian Love portrays him as, what is it? The wolf or something like that?
The leader of the wolf pack.
The leader of the wolf pack. So, which is, anyway, that's absurd. But only Adrian Love would have the answer to whether or not, you know, she offered a plea and whether or not he rejected that plea. I have no inside information on that. Let me just say that to begin with.
Okay. Well, was your client offered a plea?
Oh, I would never tell you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That
This is what happens when you put an attorney on,
yeah, that's none of my business.
I'm straight up with you though,
Yeah, you
you
are. You
know.
are very much straight up with me. All right. Do you? Someone just asked. Let's see. Let's see the questions. Let me see a good one here. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Vibrant asked. Okay. Please ask Mr. Weinstein if he knows Woody said the transcript was redacted. Do you know about that?
I think I saw a video clip, right, where he alluded to maybe the transcript being redacted. Um, so I'm not sure if I saw that clip, but I feel like I may have seen that clip. Um, I Let me just say this. I have serious doubts that our court reporter, Christina Weaver, would ever do anything unethical or redact a transcript. Um, and Judge Glanville, I do not believe if he says he's given us an unredacted transcript that he would redact anything. I think he's a straight shooter on that. So, given that both of them are straight shooters, I would think the transcript is accurate. Now, that does not mean that there were not things that occurred in that room during that ex parte meeting where the court reporter wasn't present and that would not appear in the transcript. So that's all I'll say about that. I will say that I know that there are things that are in my affidavit that I filed back in June 12th, that are not in that transcript. And I am still confident that everything I put in my affidavit is accurate.
Okay. Now, next question says, does Woody have federal immunity? Hilton said so on the transcript. And if the DA is a witness to the recusal hearing, how can they represent Glanville? That's a good question. That's a very good
Okay,
question.
let's talk about that. Um, the DA, I'll go backwards. The DA isn't representing Glanville in this. What they're doing is they are responding to our motion to recuse. Um, they could join the motion to recuse and ask for Judge Glanville to be recused. They could oppose it and say Judge Glanville should not be recused, and here's why Weinstein is wrong. Here's why Steele is wrong. Um, and Glanville shouldn't be recused. That's kind of what I'm expecting. But they're not representing Glanville when they're doing that. They're representing the state and the interests of the state. There's no one. That's a good question. I to the extent that Judge Glanville is represented. So let's go back a minute. All right. I don't want to overcomplicate things, but let's go back. Remember, I filed that petition to the Supreme Court asking them to force Judge Glanville to follow the rules on recusal and to send that recusal to another judge. And I also, that case is a civil case, Diamante Kendrick versus Chief Judge Ural Glanville. In those types of cases, Judge Glanville is represented, and he's represented by the state attorney general's office. Okay? In the petition that I filed in Fulton about 10 days ago now, that was Diamante Kendrick versus Chief Judge Ural Glanville. Judge Glanville would be represented by the state AG's office. Okay? This is different. This isn't a civil case against Judge Glanville. So the DA will do what they want with this motion. But Judge Glanville, I don't know what happens if he wants to get involved. I don't know if the state AG gets involved. I'm not exactly sure what happens if he wants to weigh in with Judge Krause. What was the first part of the question? Do you remember?
Oh, let me go back up.
It's
No,
hell to get old. I'm telling
it's
you.
okay. Okay.
Does Woody have federal immunity?
Yeah.
Well, you read his immunity, that order giving him immunity. Did you see federal immunity in there?
I
I
didn't
didn't
see
see
federal.
federal.
I
All I'll
didn't.
say is I didn't see federal immunity in there. That's what I'll say.
I didn't see federal, but I see others. It says United States. So would that
All
be?
right, here's what I'll say. I, Usually, if you're granting a defendant federal immunity, you get an assistant U.S. attorney
That comes
to
in?
sign off on that immunity grant, and the order's a little different than this one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Here's another question. It says, was there an audio of the ex parte?
There's a great, I sound like Elmer Fudd. There's a great question. The answer is I don't know, but I know that it is the normal practice of our court reporter,
Yeah.
from what I've seen in court, for her to make audio recordings of everything.
Yeah, she told me she does audio because sometimes she has to go back and listen to it because she might have
Hmm.
missed somebody's dialect and what they're saying if they enunciate the word differently, and she'll go
Hmm.
repeat it so she could get the right words in there.
Yeah, and that's why, by the way, you'll see that look on her face in court sometimes.
Hmm.
She's really focusing. She's really concentrating, trying to pick up what everybody's saying. So, yeah, that's my understanding too. And I've been dealing with court reporters for over 25 years. They usually record so they can go back and make sure they got everything down correctly because they really want things to be accurate. So, if there wasn't an audio recording, that would surprise me.
Okay, I have a question. I just thought of one. If you granted the recusal, what county would they pick as far as a judge? How would they do that picking?
You know, it's interesting. So this is the kind of the second recusal, right? Not the recusal of Judge Glanville, but you're talking about my request to recuse Judge Krause and any
Wow.
other judges in Fulton, right?
Yes.
So, um, interestingly enough, normally that would go up to the chief judge because he's kind of the administrator, and then he would select another county. This is my understanding. He would select another county, and then it would get kicked over to the or another circuit technically, but basically another county. And the chief judge, well, then I guess it would go on the wheel or whatever process that county has for assigning judges to cases. I don't believe Chief Judge Glanville can be the one to pick the county that this would get tossed to.
Mhm.
So I'm again assuming it would go to the senior most judge in Fulton to pick another county or circuit to hear the recusal of Chief Judge Glanville. That's what I think should happen.
So who is the senior of the Fulton
Yeah, I
County?
don't know off the top of my head who the senior is. And you
Because
know,
I know Dempsey is a senior, but is he because he's a retired
no, I
senior?
don't mean. Yeah, when I say senior, the senior most active judge, not a senior, not a superior court judge on senior status. You know,
Okay.
I don't really care where it goes. Um, I think everything I know about Judge Krause is that she's an excellent judge that would more than likely render an unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a reason the law, the case law, and um, the opinions of the JQC say that you need to go to another circuit, and that's because, like it or not, it's very difficult for a judge that's sitting on the bench in the same county with another judge to tell that to rule on a matter involving that judge, which is why the the case law says you kick it out to somewhere else. Um, and I don't know if it's even really fair to put Judge Krause in that position where she has to make a ruling on one of her immediate colleagues. That's a tough position to put her in. So,
So he's not considered her boss then.
um, kind of and a chief judge is more of an administrative position that
Hmm.
rotates among the judges.
Hmm.
To some extent, a boss.
Okay.
Um, in other ways, more like a colleague who's more equal than the rest. You know,
Hmm.
um, but you know, he has things that he runs. He has things that he does. So kind of a boss.
Okay. All right. The next question is about you. Do you only practice criminal defense?
I do not. Um, I also practice civil, um, and in particular, focusing on intellectual property, usually in federal court, but sometimes in state court. So most of my background is in civil, and my criminal work is more recent over the last few years. But I've been in courts throughout the United States for, I guess, 26 years now.
So do you like the criminal better than civil?
Uh, I guess I do right now. And I
Yeah.
can't tell you whether that's just I've been doing intellectual property for so long that it's nice to work on other things. Um, but I like the human connection of it versus working for all these big anonymous corporations, which is what I tend to do in civil. I like having a positive impact on people's lives. I like helping people. And in civil litigation, it's more removed from that.
Yeah.
But of course, it's more pressure in a way because people's lives are on the line. And I take
And
that very seriously. In
yeah.
civil, the only thing on the line is money, maybe people's jobs. That's
Mm,
important. Money's important. People's jobs are important. But here it's people's lives. Um, so I have to be on my absolute best all the time because
yeah.
people are counting on me.
Yeah. So how do you feel about Woody on YouTube talking?
Well, let me say this about that. I sound like a politician now, right?
Hmm.
I think it certainly refutes the state's position that he's afraid of us. Because if he's afraid of us, why is he out there all over social media showing his location and living his best life? So, um, what, Mr. Copeland is going to do what Mr. Copeland does. And again, I like the fact that it demonstrates, and by the way, he has no reason to be afraid of us. So this whole state's position that, he's changed his story because he's in the same room as we are, and this thing that they're getting at, that they're hinting at. Uh, if he's afraid of us, he wouldn't be all over social media showing his location and where he's hanging out.
That's true. That's true. How do you feel about your HIPAA information being broadcast to the world?
Oh, you know what? The as I get older, I try to care less about things that I think aren't that important. So, and I try to shut all that down. And I don't care what people know. I don't really have a big sense of privacy, obviously, by going on all these shows. Um, I don't care what people know about me. I really don't. I got no issue with it at all. And I know when the judge says things, it's done in a good natured way, and I take no offense to it. So whatever comes out, and that's just fine. Because you know what? It doesn't matter what people know. It doesn't affect my life.
That's true.
Just shake it off.
Next, do you think the judge will step aside?
Well, he's had an opportunity to do that, under the rules. I won't go into all the details, but he could have stepped aside at any point. Um, when I've asked for recusal, when I've petitioned, he's shown no inclination to do that. I don't, I'm not going to get into his head, except to say I don't have any indication that the judge believes he did anything wrong and should step aside. Um, he's a good man. I think he believes that he is unbiased. Um, I no longer believe that. I believed it for a long time, but I no longer believe that. But um, I think he is doing his best, and I think he thinks he's being unbiased. So I don't think he likely believes there's any reason for him to step aside. But I'm guessing. I don't. I don't like to get into other people's heads too much.
It's hard to because you're not a mind reader.
I'm not. I'm not. But you spend a year and a half in the same room with someone, you hope to get to know him a little bit. But I don't. I don't see him stepping aside. Do you see him stepping aside, Miss Sylvia?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Because I mean, he's been there. It's just like you saying that you're going to give up on your client, and you've been there. You know everything that's going on, and you want to continue to the end.
Yeah, perhaps. And maybe he's just digging his heels in because he doesn't believe he did anything wrong, and he's going to stick this out to prove that. You know.
Yeah. Why is the prosecution able to use crimes that was dismissed in overt acts?
Mm, well, we've got a real problem with the Georgia RICO statute. It's very broad. It allows the state to bring in all kinds of things by alleging them as overt acts. They can also bring in other material that would normally be excluded under this Rule 404B, which things, and you've seen this if you watch the trial. The state has brought in what they call 404B acts, other acts that aren't even overt acts. They're not even listed in the indictment as overt acts, and they'll bring those in. But there's a big problem with the Georgia RICO statute being overly broad, and that's something we may have to address at some point in the future.
Okay. Can you explain both scenarios where the judge gets recused and one where he does not? What's next and which is more likely?
Wow, that's a great
A long
question.
question, right?
Okay, let's do the judge gets recused first.
Okay.
If the judge gets recused, another judge is brought in to replace him. The law says that the case has to be unwound, basically, to the point where the first recusal was requested. I requested to at least that point. So I requested recusal on June the 12th. So a new judge will have to see if there's any way to unwind the case to Wednesday, June the 12th. I think that will be extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, given that the jury has heard all kinds of evidence from Mr. Copeland. They've heard evidence based on judges' rulings on our objections. I don't know how you unwind this case, but the law says you have to try to unwind it. And if it can't be unwound, well, then that's grounds for a mistrial brought on by the actions of the state and the judge. What happens if the judge doesn't get recused? Well, there's potential maybe for us to be able to appeal that. If the judge doesn't get recused, the case carries on. It carries on.
Wouldn't there be some bad blood?
Well, we're all human, and you'd like to think the judge can put it aside, but yeah, we'll see if it gets there. That's an option that. Well, look, I wouldn't have filed for recusal if I didn't think it was merited, okay, and if I didn't think we had a strong case. So I think the judge should be recused. I think any unbiased judge viewing what happened, and I'm just going to stick to my motion. I'm not getting into Brian Steele's motion. I think anybody viewing what happened and what I complain of in my motion, an unbiased judge would recuse Judge Glanville. So yeah, I think Judge Glanville should be recused, and I hope he will be recused.
All right, next question. Is this the most high profile trial you've represented in a client?
You know, it depends on what you call high profile. I would say if you looked at it like in the pop media kind of vein, I would say yes. But I was I've been in a lot of big cases, but they tend to be high tech IP related cases that maybe only got play in certain markets. But for example, there was a big lawsuit years ago where basically Apple sued Android over Android allegedly copying a lot of the look and feel of how the iPhone works. Because Android looks a lot like an iPhone. And I'm oversimplifying because it's too complicated, but I basically represented the Android manufacturer in that circumstance. That was a very high profile case. So there's been a few of them. But this, as far as just popular culture, yeah, I've never represented anyone in a case this big in pop culture.
Okay. All right. They said, what if they keep the judge and get rid of the prosecutors?
Well, there's been no effort to remove the prosecutors yet.
Yeah.
I think Brian Steele has said in open court that he has listed Judge Glanville and some of these prosecutors as witnesses on his witness list. Um, the prosecutors have made themselves witnesses in this case, and we'll have to see what happens. But that's up to Brian Steele to follow through on.
Okay. I got a question on that. Okay. When I went to go check the court documents, right? There's a
Uh-huh.
set of documents that's just for the superior court, right? And then I see something that was sent to the Supreme Court. And so what's going on? Is it two things at the same time that's operating, or what's going on?
The only thing that went to the Supreme Court is where I filed a petition on June. Hold on a second. I got to get this right. Well, I guess it was June 20th. Yeah, I filed a petition on June 20th when I was out with COVID, um, to it was a petition for a writ of mandamus that went to the Supreme Court, and
Yeah.
it was to force Judge Glanville to kick this out to another judge to hear the recusal issue. So that's the only thing that's gone to the Supreme Court that I'm aware of. If you've seen something, and that's a different case, that was a civil case.
Yeah, but the one where Steele, because I
Oh, yeah, I guess, and I don't know because I really didn't follow that in detail because I was too busy worrying about recusal issues back then. But I think, yeah, there was something that went on with his case where
I
there
want
was,
to I want to show you it. Hold on, because I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that? I'm gonna make it bigger.
yeah, make it bigger for me.
You see, it says appellate index. It says record transmitted to Court of Appeals. That was on July
July 2nd.
2nd. Uh
I
huh.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I
And
assume it relates to, I'm assuming that relates to the contempt finding against Brian Steele.
okay,
But I don't know.
because it also says on July 3rd, it says record transmitted to Supreme Court, and it has party attorney Brian Steele, check record e-file to Supreme Court to the defendant's counsel Brian Steele.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Because that I was trying to figure out what was going on with that because there's a whole bunch of like transcripts that's being sent
Hmm.
over to them. So I was just trying
Yeah,
to understand
that's
that.
not my piece of the elephant, so I'm not really sure. I'm definitely focused on recusal and follow up to the
Okay.
things that could happen depending on recusal.
Okay. So the whole contempt thing that's being handled by the Supreme Court. Then that's it.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I just have to be honest with you. I don't know. I haven't been following it. I have no idea.
Okay. Has the defense been approached with a documentary about
I
doing it?
personally have not, and I'm not aware that any of Diamante Kendrick's lawyers have been approached about a documentary. And I don't know about the other defense attorneys.
Is there no statute of limitation on RICO charges?
There is a statute of limitations on RICO charges, and I think back when people weren't paying as much attention to this case. Um, I think I even filed a motion that this was barred by the statute of limitations. I'm sure Max Sharp did. I'm sure Brian Steele did. I'm sure a number of defense attorneys did. And we argued that because they were going so far back in time, the statute of limitations applied. And Judge Glanville ruled against us across the board on that. And
Okay.
that would have been back, I believe, don't hold me to this. I believe when we were doing a lot of motion practice back at the end of 2022.
Okay. Because I remember there was a lot of motions during that time. All right. Our next one says, but if you also don't think the case will be rewound, then would that mean a mistrial? Or do you believe that that favors your client's case?
Well, if you can't really rewind the case, then a mistrial would be the only appropriate outcome at that point. Would that be in our favor? That's hard to say because I think so far the case has been going well for us. Um, and I hate to see this whole thing start over again.
Yeah.
Um, and the state have an opportunity to have learned. I mean, we all do things and then we learn from them and we do them different the next time. And I'm sure, we've all learned that have been involved in this case how to do things better the next time. So I don't know if I'm wild about giving the state another bite at the apple, but I also don't believe that it's right to continue on with what's happened so far in this case. So I think my number one priority is for Mr. Kendrick to have a fair trial, because a fair trial, I think, will result in a not guilty verdict. And even though people that watch this may think we're ahead at this point, um, we have to do what's right. We have to do what's fair, and I want a fair trial.
Absolutely. If she says, if I wanted you to represent me, what does it cost to retain you?
Mm, well, it depends on what you're alleged to have done, but the way that criminal defense attorneys, for the most part, kind of charge a flat fee up front. Sometimes in certain cases, there's a monthly, but usually it's kind of a flat fee. So what happens is clients approach us, they tell us, or potential clients, we look at the charges, we look at what it'll cost to defend them, to do the best job we possibly can for them, and then we give a price to do that. So I can't really tell you unless I know what the specific charges are, the county that you're in, your prior criminal history, what we're looking at. So all that goes into saying, I guess I'm not really answering your question, but I'm not trying to avoid it. There's no way I can answer that broad of a question.
Not simple. Um,
Yeah. It's not an hourly thing though, like in civil litigation.
yeah. Okay, can a motion be vacated, the immunity order be filled since it was signed without his lawyer present? Oh,
That would be something for Mr. Copeland and his lawyer to take up, and I'm not going to
speculate,
weigh
yeah.
in on that.
Okay. So how can
Yeah.
Hilton in good faith tell Woody he can't be prosecuted for crimes from 2015 when they have referred crimes from 2015 in this case? Good question.
Let me, rather than directly answer that, let's talk about what that immunity motion gives him. Okay. And then you draw your own conclusions as to what he can be prosecuted for. I mean, he can be prosecuted for anything. What they can't do is use his testimony in order to, as evidence against him in any future prosecutions, or evidence they gather because of his testimony, because of what they learned in his testimony. They can't use that in prosecutions against him in the future. Can they prosecute him for things he says on the stand? I mean, I guess sure, but um, not based on what he testifies to, not using any of that information.
Mm.
So um, it's important that if you receive immunity, you have a very clear understanding of what that means.
But if
But
he didn't ask for it, what? I mean, why give it to him? He didn't ask for it.
well, they gave it to him because they wanted his testimony,
Oh, but
and
he
they can
wanted
do that.
death.
What's that? Yeah, I
That's
know, and they can yank that constitutional right away from you to some
even if you didn't
degree.
even if you didn't want to, I didn't want it, but you're gonna give it to me?
Yeah, unfortunately, doesn't seem fair, right?
No,
I know, I know, I know.
that's crazy.
Yeah, we don't have the best system.
Wow. Okay, do you think this trial becomes a mistrial? And if so, the state will try it again? Will
I
try.
have no idea if this will be a mistrial. Um, and if it is a mistrial, I have no idea if the state's going to try to retry it, or if they try to do it in a different form. Please don't put me in the head of the DA's office in Fulton County. I mean, I don't think they want to get into my head, and I definitely don't want to get into theirs. So I don't know what they're going to do if that happens. That's way down the road. So I'm not saying we haven't thought about it. Okay, we've game planned this thing out for a while, but I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay. Says, would you still respect a colleague personally knowing they behave in corruption and unfair practices just to secure a conviction of your client?
Yeah, of course not. I wouldn't respect them if they did that. Um, Especially because a prosecutor, you won't see prosecutors here. You know why? They have additional duties, additional responsibilities that they have to bear that defense attorneys don't. And they have certain standards that they're supposed to live up to. Um, so you be the judge if they've met those standards and those obligations. By the way, I have a lot of respect for ADA Hilton. Um, I think she's a good attorney. Um, I think for the most part, she tries to do the right thing. We all got bosses.
All right. But that's, guys, please don't get him caught up in something. Please, please don't ask those type of
It's
questions.
okay.
I'm trying to save you. Beside a mistrial, is there ever a scenario where you would have to repick a jury with these delays seems to be a bad for the jury?
Yeah, we can't. The reason we have alternates is we can't just swap out the jury mid-trial. The only time we get a new jury is if there's a new trial. So we got the 12 jurors. I think we have 4 alternates that remain. Does that sound about right, Sylvia?
It
I think
sounds like I was told it was only 14 left. So that's only 2.
no, that's not right.
That's what I told the
No.
person. It's supposed to be 16 altogether right now.
Yeah, we got 16 left. So
16,
those
yeah.
alternates are on there so that if any of the main 12 jurors have to drop out, we can slide one of them in. They've heard all the testimony and the trial just keeps on chugging.
Because there's only 2 that left. The
2
lady,
left.
the one that was sick, and then the lady that moved. That's it.
Right. Right.
All right. Is it unethical if a defense attorney says they won't want to expose a prosecutor for wrongdoing because of future client deals or negotiation? Hmm.
Expose a prosecutor. It's an interesting question. You know, our duties are to our clients, and we have to do whatever's necessary to represent them vigorously within the ethical restraints that we have as lawyer. And we also have an ethical duty to the court and to the bar to report misconduct. And I'd like to think that we do all of that and that all attorneys endeavor to follow their ethical duties and responsibilities. So, um, sorry, I got distracted. I think we all try to do that. So I don't I don't play any game where I sacrifice the interests of one client in order to maintain a relationship with a prosecutor, and I don't think any defense attorney does that or should do that. I don't think any of us in that courtroom would do that. I can tell you that. Every defense attorney that's sitting in YSL right now is an excellent, ethical attorney.
Yeah.
So none of us, and normally I wouldn't speak on their behalf, but I've watched them. I don't think any attorney in there would do anything like that.
I like the relationship that you guys have built since dealing with this case.
And
Yeah.
let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
It is so fortunate. It is so, I'm looking up here because I'm worried about my laptop dying. I got 7%, so we're good for a bit. If I
Okay.
disappear, you'll know why.
Okay.
It's so fortunate that we all get along well together because talk about this civil litigation that I've done. I've been on cases with, a dozen defendants, 20 defendants, 7, whatever the number is. And attorneys' egos get in the way. You can't work together. It can be awful. There's been zero of this in this case. Even when we had the 14 defendants, when this trial began, we all get along. We all work together. We don't always agree on things. And you'll occasionally see that in court. But when that happens, it's respectful. And it's done because it's not done out of spite, but it's done because there are very few times, but there are times when we think our client's interests may diverge.
Yeah.
So we have to represent our client's interests. But as far as getting along, we have a great relationship, and I'm going to miss all these guys when this case is over because it'll be like a family breaking up.
Yeah, and you guys work like a football team, like you huddle together and come up with a plan, and one person execute it, and not everybody's the quarterback at that time. I'm using that analogy, but the way you guys work, I mean, I just love it. It's just like picture time for me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Weinstein, I'm going to take a couple of questions and I'm going to let you go because I know your thing is about to die.
Yeah,
It
thanks.
Attorney Weinstein, we appreciate your professionalism. Question: if there is a mistrial, what's the timeline for a new trial?
I have no idea because the state has to decide if they want to do a new trial. The state has to decide if they want to re-indict the case in a different way. It's so much goes over to the state. So I don't know what the timeline would be on a new trial if there would be a mistrial.
Okay. And the last question from this, and then I have my final question after this. This is the last question. It says, can you decline to sign an immunity order?
Well, that immunity order is actually granted and signed by the judge. So if you're a witness, and the judge, yeah, the cops can lie to you, by the way. I saw that question flash up. Cops can lie to you. Anyway, if you're a witness and they want to stick you with an immunity deal, they stick you with an immunity deal.
Yeah. Okay. Now, my question is,
Cops can and will lie to you.
yeah, the whole process of this recusal thing, will there be a hearing if it is granted? And what is the whole, I mean, how does that go about? Is it the witnesses come about and they make a decision based on a hearing, or what? How does that go?
A lot of this is in the control of the judge that hears the recusal, Judge Krause in this case. So I'm sorry, I'm tired. According to the Rule 25, which I keep citing in court that's about recusal, the judge can make a decision on the papers, just the papers that are filed. The judge can have a hearing. The judge can decide that we're allowed to bring witnesses in. It would seem in this case, that a hearing is warranted. Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know what the judge is going to do. So it's up to the judge what she decides to do here. But she could bring in witnesses. She could ask us to bring in witnesses, or she could decide on the papers. I think it's a little hard for her to decide on the papers, but
So they
it's
will
possible.
bring witnesses. Okay. All right.
I expect there to be a hearing, but it doesn't necessarily mean there will be one.
Okay. All right. I think I have the last question. Okay, there's one more person, and then after that, this is. So, is it possible for the trial to get dismissed as mistrial double jeopardy due to the prosecution misconduct from the Supreme Court? So, yeah.
Okay, chop off from the Supreme Court from that question, and my answer will be yes.
Yes.
It is possible for the trial to get dismissed for a mistrial because of double jeopardy, due to the prosecution or the judge goading us into asking for a mistrial.
Okay. Well, Mr. Weinstein, Attorney Weinstein, we thank you so much. I've been waiting for this interview. I thank you for keeping your promise with me.
And thank you, Miss Sylvia, for finally inviting me on your show after ignoring me for so long.
I didn't ignore you.
Oh, that's not true. I know.
You see how you did? You see this, guys? But thank you so much. I appreciate you. And prayerfully, we will be doing an interview of your victory next. Okay.
That would be awesome. And that would be a victory for Mr. Kendrick. And notice I've sat here for a whole hour without a comfort break. And with that, I will sign off.
All right. Have a good one.
See you.
Bye. All right, good people. Let's go ahead on and bring some of you guys up here because I apologize because the reason why we did the super chat because it was easier for me to see with the colors, and it was for me to be able to pick it out. So I know it's a little bit different from what we normally do. I know some folks got upset, but that was the fairest way, the best way to do it is by seeing those colors and pulling it out instead of just, trying to figure folks' numbers and all this kind of stuff. Anybody would like to come up and give your thoughts of what Mr. Weinstein says? And also, guys, remember, Kokomo will be here on Wednesday. Kokomo is my next interview, Wednesday. So get your stuff together.
Yo,
Hey,
yo. What up,
hey.
Sylvia? What's going on? I just want to say great interview. Thanks for coming up, Attorney Weinstein. And that was actually my idea with the whole super chat thing.
Yeah, it was your idea.
That was not Sylvia's idea. I just randomly put that in there because, there were so many people submitting a lot of questions, and I thought that was just an easier way, for you to do that. So that was not Sylvia telling me to do that. That was me who said that to make it a lot easier so she could,
But it was a great idea because I could see the colors. It was easy for me to pick it out that way. So thank you,
right.
Don, for that.
Yeah. And I mean, you might as well. I mean, that's what a lot of people do, when they have a lot of questions or comments coming in. That's just an easy way to, to highlight it or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to say great interview and thank you for having me as far as allowing me to ask the questions. And thank you for answering the questions, Weinstein. So
Thank
that's all
you.
I
Thank
wanted to
you,
say.
Don. Thank you. Are you going to be prepared for our thing with Boosie? Because
Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna
I'm
go.
going to send you
I'll be there.
this week. I got to give you all the information. It's at 10:30, I think, on the 12th.
Yep.
No, I'm
I'll be
mistaken.
there. I'll be there.
Okay, great. Um, did you want to stay up here or?
No, go ahead. Yeah. All right. Have a good rest of your night, Sylvia. I'll be
All
in the
right,
chat.
thank you, Dom. I appreciate you. All right. Anybody else want to come up and give your thoughts of what you think of the interview? What you said Woody is live? Okay. Shout out to you too, Danny. So don't forget, Kokomo will be my special guest on Wednesday. Shout out to Miss Tasha Kendricks. She's been a faithful individual. Okay, here come. Hey, Michael.
Hello. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Miss Sylvia, what a great.
Hi, Pastor. I miss you. You've been gone the last couple of days. It's not you. We didn't get a notice that you weren't going to be around.
You know
Okay.
what? I gotta make sure I start following that. Okay. No, I went on vacation with the fam down
Oh,
Atlantic
great.
City, which is wish that I didn't, but that's another thing. Hold on. I got my trusty notes. I was taking notes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, notes. Let me see. First of all, going back to the earlier state need 48 hours. When are we going to get justice in this world? When will the powers to be, whether it's hierarchy or not, you can't tell me that nobody is looking at this. I understand the rule books is the rule books. Y'all was supposed to do something at 5:00. Y'all, they had one job to do. Just one job. Okay. How the saying go? And you couldn't even do that right. So y'all need 48 more hours to twist the clock, bend the clock, go under it, maneuver around it to try to decipher the best way to handle this issue. That's the first thing. Hold on, put my notepad down. Let me see. Do you think? Okay, I said that one. Hey, Randy.
What's up, Pastor?
What's up? What's my other note? There you can.
Don't take forever reading them notes that you done took now. You know how y'all be when y'all in church. Y'all want to go slow and drag it out.
So the immunity deal, like you just asked him, which is a crock of buffoonery, okay? How my man Joe Biden say a lot of malarkey, okay? You mean to tell me that you can give a person immunity and they don't want it, Miss Sylvia, like you said, okay? And then at your earliest convenience, kind of like what Judge Glanville said, because he's always changing his mind, you can just snatch it back. You feel me? Like push your baby back up in the womb. You feel me? We don't need you out here. Just push your baby back up in the womb. You know, there ain't no time now. Once again, where do we how is Miss Sylvia, just keep doing what you're doing. May the powers to be around you. Listen, if you get bigger, get some security, something. Because we riding with you, Miss Sylvia. Because this is crazy. I used to think.
Hold on, now I don't know. We riding with her since she done skipped my darn super chat.
I didn't skip it. I
Nah,
read
you
it.
didn't read it. You didn't read it. You put it on the screen. You didn't read it. You put it on the screen. No, I'm just messing with you. You didn't read it though. You did. Hey, it was a shout out though. It was a shout out.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I should have shot it. But he read it. He was reading it too.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you though.
But yeah, like this.
Look, because I know Pastor finna drag this out. I know he finna drag it out.
No, hey, I'm just waiting for the crew to get in here, so because I know they coming for me. You know me.
Yeah, they finna say, look at Pastor there. He ain't been paying attention.
Right? I got my notes. I said no, but I just think that this is just some like the most craziest thing I've ever seen. I'll go by my future statement. I hope that the jury dismiss this case with prejudice and dismiss it for for negligence. A lot of this is just negligence, and I'm just hoping that that's just the way that it go. I'm hoping Seti Nash there have a point.
Pastor, did you say negligence? Like
this ain't got nothing to do with it, but I said it. Negligence.
Yep. That word don't even have nothing to do.
You see, I just said that, right? Yep. It ain't got nothing to do with it.
Let me give my shout out to Mr. Weinstein. We appreciate you, Mr. Weinstein. I appreciate you coming over here. That was like one of the best interviews by far. It was very professional. Look,
yes,
I don't know where that guy is getting negligence from.
Because it's the wrong word to use. If the court do to us and do anything that they want, then we can just say what we want, okay? Because they just doing what they want, okay? Yeah, I know it's the wrong word, but yeah, this is crazy. I ain't never seen nothing like this a day in my life.
Just say corruption. You should just say corruption.
I'm so mad that I can't even say that word. You feel me? How Joe Biden say this is a bunch of malarkey. You feel me? It boils your skin because for regular folks like us, take the money out, we seeing what they can do to us, how they can treat us. And we don't have a Miss Sylvia. So I'm hoping once again, may you continue to keep grow and the bushes and the trees just keep surrounding you. You know what I'm saying? As you elevate, because we need that. You are one of the staples that are making people, and hopefully, yes, it's election time, but to take what you do and to decipher, not just because of this case, and say like the justice system is not right, not just on this, but on so many other areas, to vote the proper way. Because we stuck. We stuck.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, living in Charlotte, North Carolina, Tanya M. Thornton. Thanks for always showing up, even though you don't always get the credit. Thank you. Randa, let me go read Randa's. Hold on. Randa's thing here.
Nah, it's too late. We good.
Mr. Weinstein and all the other defense attorney representing your client. Thank you, Randa.
I'm dropping down now. Bye, y'all.
Randa, hold before. Oh, she done left. Jesus Christ. We are asking about. Please make sure you like it. Randa was big.
All right, good people. Anybody else want to come up? Okay, numbers are going down. So we went from Super Bowl to pickleball. Y'all just like talking folks out. Look at what they just said. Oh my God.
I'm used to it, Miss Sylvia. You know I'm used to it. Why is past the in the dark? I just haven't decided to cut on any lights. I was just after Miss Sylvia, I'm gone in the room.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Sylvia?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just want to say I appreciate you for letting me, ask your questions or whatever. You keep pushing. Um, I've been in tune to the YSL trial since it started, and I came across your page maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I just been locked into you ever since.
Thank you,
So I just wanted
Dwayne.
to say that.
But
Yes,
see
ma'am.
now, what happened is Weinstein has shared with you guys that I've been the only content creator in that courtroom from the time the trial started, before the trial started. The only consistent one in the courtroom. The
Persistent.
only
Yep.
the
That's
only
fact.
one that shows up. I've been there longer than even the news people.
You see, ain't shot them out.
Consistent. You consistent with it for sure.
Consistent. And it's because of people like you guys who've been supporting and just making sure I make it there. As long as God gives me strength in my body. Okay, we're gonna have to mute you for a minute, Dwayne, because your thing's making noise. I was saying, as long as God gave me strength in my body and I'm able to get there physically, you guys have been rocking with me, have been supporting and just making sure I make it there. There's a member here. She's the one who got me parking every single day. You understand me? This is the kind of stuff that you guys have been doing for me to make sure I'm there consistently, you know? So, and that's why I appreciate it. It's not me by myself. It's you guys have been supporting. Everything that you have given into this channel is what's been keeping me there. And I thank you guys for that. Hey, Herd.
Thank you, guys. Hello, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, how are you tonight?
You know your thing's playing in the background.
I just wanted to come because I watch you all the time.
You know your thing's playing in the background.
Oh my God. I just wanted to come because I watch you all the time.
Just turn the YouTube off.
Okay, so I did turn it off.
Okay.
But I was calling because I wanted to pretty much voice my opinion on the situation. I've been watching you most of the day today. And I'm hoping and praying because I've been praying. I've been praying, Miss Sylvia. I hope that the judge is recused. I really do. I understand that nobody is perfect, but again, from the last time I spoke on your channel, I know a lot of these young men personally. I just want them to actually have a fair trial. That's it. If it's a fair trial, nobody can be upset about what the outcome is. But, I just think they deserve a fair trial. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I hope that, if Judge Glanville finds it in his heart to know, because if he just sit back and watch some of his tapes and some of the videos, he would know that, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right on any accord. I'm hoping that he feel it in his heart to recuse himself and allow these young men to have a fair trial. Um, I I just don't believe, just from what he's getting on the stand and saying that he actually lied, to say that he lied and admit that he lied about majority of everything, it's almost like, where is the trial at this point? Why is it still a trial? When your number one star witness, who is the reason why they're on trial, admits that he lied about everything. Like, what is the trial for at this point? I just wanted to voice my opinion on that because I mean, I'm a very big fan of Jeffrey. I've been knowing him since he was a little boy with snotty nose.
Hmm.
And I remember a lot of things that he's done in his life, good and bad. But I mean, I'm a grown woman. I'm 49 years old. And hey, I did a lot of wrong things in my past. We all have as children. But people change. And he's progressing to a very, very good adult, a person that have seen about a lot of people. And I'm at the point like, are you just gonna disregard the good that he's done to bring about things that he's done when he was a teenager almost? Like 10 years ago. Like, come on, come on. And to face the fact, Miss Sylvia, that all of majority of the ones that actually did commit crimes, that did have aggravated assaults and murders, they got bonds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, what type of system are we in? Like, they actually are out of jail on bond. And the one person that doesn't have a conviction, that doesn't have a background, was not even offered a bond. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. I'm hoping every day that he's free. I'm hoping that a lot of young men in there are free for being held for guilty by association. And it's crazy that me, as an adult woman, I don't know you completely, but if I can just walk past your house and point at your house and say, yeah, Miss Sylvia committed this crime, and I come back every day and I initiate this every day, send emails and send texts to people and say, she did this crime, knowing if she didn't do this crime, and this will cause you to be arrested without probable cause?
It
Really?
happened to me for real. You saying that just happened
You,
to me.
you see what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm still on the channel. I'm watching. But I just
Thank
wanted
you,
to say
sir.
that. Okay. Have a good night.
Good night. Hey, real Fulton County baby.
What's up, Miss Silver? How you doing, baby?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm highly flavored and blessed. I just really came up here to give you your flowers. Like, honestly, like, you doing a good job. Like, you serving a real good deed of your purpose of showing us what's really going on. You're bringing these people to your YouTube, however you say that name right now. My mind discombobulated, but I really came up here to give you your flowers and tell you to keep up the good work. These Nick, stop calling me Fulton County, baby. But I appreciate for what you're doing, honestly, because you're actually teaching a lot of people. I'm here for the people who's learning about the law. You know, like it's a lot of flaws in the law.
Yeah.
So we learning as we going day by day. We learning for it. So I'm here to say I appreciate what you're doing, because without you, we wouldn't be seeing what's going on right now. We'll see what's going on, but the facts that you breaking it down for us, you bringing Einstein, Weinstein up here, like it's just Kokomo. All these people is playing a big part of us to where we actually in a coloring book trying to finish the lines in the coloring book, trying to make sure we got everything right. You know, so I just want to give you your flowers, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And thank you, baby.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I see you outside though.
you see me outside.
I
When you
said
see
I
me
see you
outside.
outside.
Where you see me outside?
I will see you out. Didn't Nick? I was
Of
downtown
course I
today.
see it. Hey,
I was
Nick,
actually at the courthouse next door to y'all today, but I ain't want to make my business to come over there. But
Nick, I'm still waiting for JJ's.
just let me know when you outside. I told you how I'm gonna give you my number because I want to bless you with more than JJ. We trying to invite you to the barbecue.
Oh, I want to go to the barbecue. We were looking for barbecue
Exactly.
the other day.
Hell, we trying to invite you to the barbecue. So, like, for real, Miss Sylvia, like, we appreciate the work you doing. For real, for real.
And tell cousin I still love my hug.
Okay, he definitely love you. But okay, Miss Sylvia, you take care, baby. I got you.
You too,
Like I
thank
said,
you.
I'm matter of fact, I'm gonna put my number in your DM on Instagram.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks, Nick. All right, guys. Y'all don't hate, y'all, because I be getting the phone numbers out. Don't hate, okay? Free agent, okay?
Miss Sylvia.
Free agent. Huh? Yeah.
I think, because I know on my channel, I have the segment where going to be talking about city and local government.
Wait. Your channel's up now? You got it going? You didn't tell us.
I've been trying to build it. That's why I told Randa to give me a what you call. I'm gonna call you later too, because before I push that click button, okay, I want to be able to know that I'm doing all the right things. I know we talk about the cussing and I don't know nothing.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with the cussing because I'm gonna show y'all with that cussing.
AJ.
What's happening?
Hey, Rich Bum, where you been?
Who, me?
No, I was talking about Rich.
Oh.
Sorry, AJ.
No, you
Hey,
good.
AJ.
Hey, I see. Obviously, I done missed a lot. I missed all the Weinstein. My apologies for that. But I just want to echo what everybody been saying, Sylvia. You know what I'm saying? Giving you your flowers because you've been there since day one, and that's why we all been there because you've been actually in the room. Like everybody else, just blogging and spectating like we is. You know what I'm saying? You've been giving them that insight, so we appreciate that.
But AJ, you've been with me a long time.
Yeah, man, I've been rocking with you, man. Because like I said, I found you early in the game, way back in, you know what I'm saying, Motions. I was on other channels, and then I ran across you, so, you know, I locked in. Yeah. But I had a question for you. If I missed it, my apologies, y'all.
Uh-huh.
About Love's delay today. What's behind that? Because they've had adequate time. They had more than enough time to get their stuff together and figure out their strategy or whatever they want to do. For her to wait till the deadline to family emergency us and then get 2 more days, it's like what's really what they trying to cook up?
A lie. A lie. They try to cook up. They don't need 48 more hours. They just want to request it to see if they're gonna get their way.
And if I'm a defendant in this, I'm at this point, I'm rushing it. Like, come on, man, y'all done got more than enough time. Y'all done got 2, almost 3 years out of me. Like, it's getting ridiculous. It's almost to the point to where it's like they don't want to drop the case. They want somebody else to do it for them. Just drop the case, State, please.
Well,
and let my boy Woody live, man. Let him live.
I think they think they're gonna lose. When Hilton got up there and sounded like a little scared little Cabbage Patch doll, I ain't trying to make no fun. Hey, Your Honor, is there any way that we can speed this up? And just Glenn well out. I gotta follow the rules. When she said that, the sense of she knew they knew the possibilities of some of the things that probably can go wrong at that particular moment in second. They didn't think that it was going to go their way.
Right. And I think back before they called Woody is when they calling Woody to the stand this early to me was they Hail Mary. They was already losing. You know what I'm saying? So they needed Woody right away. Hence the rush to lock them up and to get them up there, to coerce them up there and all this stuff here. And it had a major backfire.
Mm-hmm. But you know what is also telling me too, AJ?
What's that?
Like you just said, the number one thing that you just said about Woody, this other murder that they got on the books, it must not be that powerful. If y'all got to go this hard on little old Woody, Okay, the other murder that's on the book that they haven't even got to, it must not be that serious.
See, I think the other murder is not any type of connection to Thug, because remember they're trying to get Thug.
Right. And they threw the body to, in my opinion, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sylvia, correct me if I'm wrong, they threw Lil Rod in there only because he had a body. That's the strength in their Rico. He got nothing to do with none of them people. They barely even said his name in the last 8 months.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, and people keep saying these bodies, it's 10 years old. If they had anything, it would have been done already. Conviction-wise.
Listen, I thought it was a statue earlier.
No, ain't no statue on no murder, but it's like this they way around the double jeopardy Rico. I ain't gonna say double jeopardy because ain't nobody been.
Yeah.
But this they way around it. They wanted the jury to convict these men based off of storytelling, no evidence.
Okay.
You wanted the conviction off of friendships and old convictions, nothing that sustained. Because if they got all these 911 calls, they had all the footage of Nuts murder, yet nobody was convicted.
And they because Nut family and them trying to get convicted. I get a conviction. I said,
they fell for the okie doke. They fell for the state's lies. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna get you some justice right now. Just come and let us see you bet your crocodile. I ain't gonna say crocodile tears because she did lose her son, but it's been 10 years.
But you know what? I think Miss Sylvia had someone on here the day before yesterday. I might don't be in, but I click back in, Miss Sylvia, depending on what I'm doing. I think they was talking about the politic aspects of it, not going into politics. But once again, Fannie Willis got in here and got reelected on the notion of her solving. And I guess that's what be in any state. That's in my state.
She didn't get reelected yet.
No, but basically won the what you call them. But she got these Ricos on Trump, on Thug and them. Okay, so the people of Fulton County can say, all right, well, yeah, we're going to elect her, because she's actually putting
locking men up for 2 years with no bond. Is that getting justice? Is that solving what we doing?
I mean, it depends because we're not analysts. And you, Miss Sylvia, I'm gonna leave that up to you. That's gonna be something for you. And you know what that is? Let's figure out what the crime rate has been since then. Okay.
It's been the same. I tell you, it's been the same. The same thing been going on.
Oh, so I don't even know why I just said that out of my goddamn
mouth.
I said dag. I didn't say dag. The other one, I said dag. But yeah, I don't. If that's the case, I'm definitely lost now because if your whole notion was to run this campaign on we doing Rico trials only, but she knew what she was doing because the Rico trial says that this evidence, okay, can still be used. Because any other time, we all know most likely it's over jeopardy, statute of limitations, all of that. But I guess within the Rico, it's all fair game. You can use anything. Like you said, you can go on YouTube and just say, hey, give me that picture right there. This is
that's exactly what she did, man. Albeit old boy took all the the case and they had to rebuild, but what they rebuilt on is whack. It shouldn't have been brought, and had it not been Euro, the judge wouldn't have allowed it.
Yeah.
Euro has been letting small stuff slide through this whole time, continuing to let new stuff in, new people in. Witness list ain't closed yet. Come on, bro.
Yeah. And that's the most biggest thing. It's actually like a big win for all of them if you really want to look at it. Fanny.
Somebody just asked me to show what the plea deals contain. Thank you. I was supposed to bring that up, Tyler. It's tough.
There you go. You talking about the plea deals for the
Yeah, because I had kitchen. No, we don't want kitchen because his was a different alpha plea. Let's go after Winfrey. Was it Winfrey that
didn't they have who was left? I mean, never mind. You go ahead and do that. But I want to know, like future, who was left on the state's witness list that was of some importance. Woody, and who else, Sylvia? They had a bunch of cops, so we ain't counting them.
Yeah, we ain't counting them. I know the old girl, she coming back. The one they took a bench warrant out on her, she coming back.
She's not coming back. She's not coming back.
Oh, she ain't got to come back now?
Mm-mm.
I know. Okay.
Mm-mm.
I thought she had to come back.
Candy, his mama named him Euro. I'm gonna call him Euro. Tall Glass, you had. Tall Glass been down too, Sylvia, from day one.
Tall Glass from day one. She's been here.
She was like one of the first people I
met Tall Glass over there at Law and Crime, but they
I was over there too at first, but I ain't like they crowd. They crowd was.
You know what? I'm not really gonna say anything about that. But you did an interview with you was outside the courtroom, Miss Sylvia. I think it was, matter of fact, the last day that we was in court. And I think
Shout out Joanna for the
Law and Crime and all of them. They were sitting there with their phones and all. Was that them?
When was that? I'm sorry, I'm looking for the plea deal. So
Okay.
You're right, AR. Rico built on social media is weak, man. Like, come on, bro. And they want so bad. If y'all was, we all been watching and pay attention.
Thank you, Joanna.
Like the state wants so bad for still them to present their case as if it's their turn to present. You don't want to see them witnesses come up though. The jury was ready to hear from Mike. The jury ready to hear from Tip. The jury ready to hear from Kevin Lyles. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. That what his mama name.
Yeah, funny.
And I got an opinion. This is just my opinion. For this to be an active RICO trial with real consequences, all the major players are out here in the world just lollygagging and BSing. You know what I'm saying? With online and TikTok stories and creating new social media. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Well, you know what? The next time I will bring it up because I don't have it in front of me, but I will make sure I have the plea deal, Victoria. Victoria, I will make sure I have the plea deal the next time we go live, okay? I'll look for it while
Victoria also said, is there anybody, basically the same thing I just said, anybody importance left on the witness list?
That guy, Muntunk.
Yeah, somebody said Muntunk.
Muntunk. It's him.
He gonna do the same thing everybody else did.
That's it. Antonio Sledge, Muntunk. That's who.
Antonio's son. You're right. There you go.
That's his name, Antonio Sledge.
Shout out Shantae. She said I was watching LNC and coming over here was the best thing ever.
Okay, y'all, we're gonna have to end because we're gonna make this video too long. So thank you guys for the time. But I'll do another live because this is supposed to be dedicated to the interview. I forgot. We're getting all a little bit caught up and going all over the place. But I'm gonna go on my other channel if you guys want to meet me over there and we can have conversation.
Hey, somebody give me a ride, man. I carpool.
All right, I'm coming to get you, AJ. I'm coming to get you right now. Hold on.
All right, guys. See y'all later. Come on over to my other house, okay, y'all? Come on over to the infamous Sly channel. Mods, please put the link in the chat so that people could come over because this is where we're going to have the after party. The after party.
I got sections. Sections going.
After party, y'all. Let's go over there to the other house for the after party. Anybody got the link? Somebody put the link in there. Hold on.
Unpopular. Hush. Unpopular. Hush.
What she said? We're unpopular saying. Hold on a second.
She was talking to me.
Okay, hold on, y'all. We're going to get the link.
I'm out.
All right, see you later. Okay, guys, here's the channel right here. Those who want to meet me over there in a few minutes, here's the after party. The after party is this infamous slide channel. All right, see you guys over there. Have a good one.
you.